Now, the teacher at the centre of an LGBT lessons row, you may remember this is a school in Birmingham, we talked about it before, now has received death threats and other nasty messages, which has left him feeling vulnerable. Do you know,
everyone gets death threats now, don't they? Everyone's getting... anyone in the public, you get death threats. It's just sort of...
I mean, I told you, some of the ones that from people say, you got to talk on your radio show about Remain. I mean, some of them are very thick and very... I bet they wouldn't say boo to you if they came.
Well, the more you get, the more diluted the death threats, so the less effect they have.
Well, Andrew Moffat at Parkfield Community School in Birmingham was told, you won't last long. According to a story on Sky News earlier today, the assistant head teacher's No Outsiders programme has sparked protests by many Muslim parents who object to their children learning about same-sex relationships. Well, vote for me in the... I won't have any interference by religions. Christian religion, Islamic religion, none of it will interfere with rules and regulations.
Do you need it at school? Though? We didn't have it, and we understand.
Yeah, I think we did need it. To be quite honest, I think we did because when I was at school, and probably same with you, very little was known about.
Yeah, exactly. But we all knew, we know about it.
Yeah, well, I think it does.
Without having to.
Anyway, Izzy Montague is joining us now, and also we've got talking about this particular subject as well. Benjamin Butterworth, who I think we've had.
You called him Benjamin Button last time.
I did call him Benjamin Button, but anyway, let's start with Izzy. Hi, Izzy. Welcome to the programme. Give me your thoughts on this.
Hello. Good evening. So I don't agree with it having to be taught. You just said it just now. You didn't have it when you were at school. I didn't have it when I was at school, and we're fine. We're tolerant of LGBT. We're tolerant of many things in society.
Not tolerant about Brexit, are we?
There should be Brexit lessons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Clearly, but I think that is the problem, that people who are not tolerant, people definitely feel that acceptance is the new tolerance. So it's not good enough.
We live in a different... I don't know how old you are, Izzy, and I wouldn't presume to pretend, but when I went to school, people didn't talk and weren't as open as... people had to hide and live hidden lives, which is appalling. And I mean, I didn't know anything about it. I know a lot more about it now, I'm glad to say. And so do children. So I think they need to be prepared for this, surely. And if you're not worried about it one way or the other, I don't see what you've got against it.
But when you say prepared, what are you preparing children as young as 4 or 5 year olds for? I mean, what's going to happen to them? What exactly?
Well, what are 4 or 5 year olds going to be taught? Except that some children, probably at that school, have 2 daddies instead of a daddy and a mother.
That's not true. Nobody has 2 dads and 2 mums. You know that. I know that. Nobody has 2 dads or 2 mums. People who act like mums and dads.
Hang on. Then you've just explained why these lessons are needed.
No, I haven't. You have explained why.
You've explained.
And you're taking out of context what I'm saying to say that it should be taught. I'm honest with my child. If you want to tell your children that people have 2 mums when that's not true, that's up to you. But if my child asks me...
What do you tell your children then? What do you tell them about this?
So if I'm honest with my child, so if my child ever says to me, well, so-and-so has 2, says that they have 2 mums, I say, no, they don't. They have a mother who they live with and somebody who they live with who they also call mum. Yeah. But every child comes onto this earth like you did. They have a mum and a dad. Their dad doesn't probably live with them. That's it.
Why do you want to make things so confused? I mean, why don't
I'm not saying that people have 2 mums.
Listen to me. If this child was adopted or was not born from the loins of the lady that they called mum, would you insist on telling your child that?
I would be honest. Every parent, even if you're an adopted parent, you would be honest.
But it sounds to me,
child.
Izzy, like you're quite happy for your child to think that might be a second-class citizen.
No, it's not. I mean, are you claiming that every child who is adopted, their parents lie to that child and say, well,
no, I'm not claiming that at all, but I'm
honest with their children. They tell their children that you were adopted.
And listen, I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm suggesting that children want to be more informed now than they used to be. And if a child of 4 or 5 wants to know why one of their classmates is being brought up or other people live with 2 people of the same sex. What is the problem of saying, well, listen, just a minute. What is the problem for them being told that they've got two dads or two mums? Doesn't matter whether they actually physically were biologically were the mums or the dads. Doesn't matter.
Why? I just explained to you just now. You're telling me to stop and listen, but I just explained to you directly. You're saying informed. I'm informing my child. If this was your child, you're saying that I should lie to my child. I'm telling my
Didn't
child
say that at
because
all.
they learned biology at school.
Didn't say that.
But they're not biological parents, are they?
Let me bring in Benjamin Butterworth, who's a journalist at. Are you? I thought you were,
the I newspaper.
The I newspaper, right? Benjamin.
Hello.
Hi.
I think I'm staggered by what Izzy's just said, because it is effectively saying that the child of same-sex parents is a second-class citizen. And it's also suggesting that other kids in that class shouldn't really know about the fact of them having two mummies or two daddies. The truth is that there are kids, happy, healthy kids in schools all around this country that will be in that situation. And those children shouldn't be made to feel like second-class citizens just because someone else's parent has prejudiced, out-of-date views like Izzy appears to have. And the other thing...
Hang on, Benjamin, let Izzy come back and say what?
Out of date. You're saying to me that I should potentially lie to my child. I'm not saying other people's children, but you're saying I should lie to my child to appease other people's lifestyle. So I should tell my child that it is actually capable. It can actually happen that two people can just, of the same sex can have a child. I'm being honest with my child, so my child isn't confused. So my child doesn't ask me, well, why can't I have two mums? I have explained in a very age-appropriate way.
Let Benjamin come back, Izzy. Benjamin.
There's an incredible irony there that you oppose the idea of relationship and sex education for kids, for young people in primary school and secondary school, and yet you're saying that you would give your child a detailed explanation of the biology of recreating a child. That is clearly a contradiction in terms.
As a parent, that's what you do. That's as a parent. So I'm a parent, and you don't lie to your child, so they don't get to the age of 12 and they've been told about biology. Every step of the way with your child, you ask Izzy what things are used for, and you tell them. You don't lie to them to appease other people's lifestyle.
It's lying to them to suggest that someone doesn't have two mums or two dads, because that's the reality of their setup. But do you think it's morally acceptable to be gay? Do you think you'd accept your child?
I would explain how that came about. I didn't say that I wouldn't say that they had a two mums. I did say that.
Hang on, both of you. Hold on, just both of you. That's an interesting question. Is it morally wrong to be gay?
This is out of, obviously, the context of what the whole thing is about. My views on...
No, it's not actually, Izzy, because if that's how you feel, then that undermines this whole process, because you obviously feel that a child in a family of two people of the same sex living together is living in an immoral family, and that's not good from your point of view.
But first of all, my views of what I personally would think about anyone's sexuality is nothing to do with this. The clear thing is that whether I would teach my child whether or not these types of relationships in school, in the first place, is right or wrong. That is the issue. So my issue is teaching a child that anybody has 2 months or two dads. Why should I have to do that?
But your logic says that parents who adopt a child aren't their actual parents. You'd have to explain that to your child as well. But all you're saying is they're not their natural parents, but they're still their parents.
When I grew up, and I'm sure when you grew up, I'm sure you were fully aware of anybody who had adopted parents. The child is aware. Ask any child who is adopted whether they are aware that they are adopted or if they have been lied to all their life. It is not moral or ethical to lie to children to say that you do not have a mum. Every child can have a balanced family, a mum and a dad.
Right, Izzy, not everybody can have a balanced family in this world, unfortunately. Can I give the last word to Benjamin, because Izzy's spoken quite a lot, and I've got to go for the news.
And the truth is, quickly, she has exposed the root of her argument, which is that she is against people being gay. She thinks it's morally wrong. So when we ask the question of whether schools should teach kids that there are gay people that exist and that they are equal, Izzy is the prime example, because no parent can decide or know whether their child will be gay. But Izzy's child could well be gay as much as any other child.
My child?
And the truth is that
what's that got to do with you teaching my child? That's your life. You keep your life to yourself, and I will keep my life to mine. My child doesn't go to school to learn about your life.
Guys, we can't hear both of you at the same time. Sorry, Benjamin, you made a statement about Izzy. Izzy, you better come back and answer that.
Again, what he is exposing is how much he wants to infringe his rights onto other people's families. If
Infringe his
right?
That's no.
Infringing. You are not being stopped to live your life. You can live your life. What other people's opinions are on other people's lifestyle is their opinions. You're not going to change the whole world. You cannot use children as social experiments to change what people think about your lifestyle. Let it go. You have your life.
Sorry, Izzy. I'm sorry, I'm out of time, but I can't leave it like this. What do you mean social experiment? What does that mean?
Social experimenting is trying to change the way how people feel about other people's sexual preferences.
How do you feel about other people's sexual preferences, Izzy?
It's their business.
Right, well, what's the problem?
Enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, Izzy.
There's a caller.
Let's talk to John in London. Hello, John, you're on the air.
Make some sense of all this.
Yeah, hello, James.
John.
I hardly call for things like this, but I have to on this one because the gentleman, Benjamin, speaking to the lady, I just have a problem with the whole thing. I'm not homophobic. I believe live and let live, each to their own. But when it comes to kids, 5-year-olds, and then the lady was mentioning if it was her child, this is what you tell her, which is perfectly okay in the confines of her own house. I have an issue where the minute you disagree with anything like this, immediately you're tagged as being homophobic. And I don't quite agree with that. You can have a different view. The world is, coming to a point whereby you're not allowed to have a different view.
Nobody said you can't have a different view, John. No,
but James, the way you have a different view, you're labelled that you're anti one thing or the other. Look, I'm a black person. You're allowed to disagree with me about things. That doesn't mean immediately I'll dub you a racist. Where does it end?
Look, I agree with you there, but this is the problem I have. As long as the educators have deemed it acceptable, because they're the people who know, I don't see what the problem is. Now, if you are a religious person and your religion says that homosexuality is wrong, then, okay, you have a right to believe that, but I don't think you have a right to teach that to your children.
James, look at it this way, I'm a religious person, but I'm not one of these people that believe, if you don't believe in what I believe, then you're doomed to go to hell or whatever. No. My religion is all about equality, live and let live. That's what my religion is all about.
Well, that's a nice religion. I haven't heard of that one before. Where is that one?
That's what Christianity is you live and let live.
Ooh, no, I don't think so.
Bottom line is, there are rules within it where it says, do unto others as you like done to you. That's what religion is all about. Everyone will have their own slant to it. But bottom line is, there's no way in my religion where I go to church every weekend and it says, you know what, when you go out there, anyone that is a non-believer, kill him. It doesn't exist.
Well, I'm very glad. I'm very glad to hear that it doesn't in yours. Unfortunately, in some it does, but they're the more extreme ones. But what does happen in most religions is that they want to pass on some of the bigoted ideas, and a lot of religion is bigoted. It's a belief in something that may or may. I'm an agnostic. It's a belief in something that may or may not have some validity. I tend to think probably it doesn't, but I'm open to persuasion. But I don't understand this whole argument. Listen, I would want my kids to be fully informed about all forms of sexuality, all forms of relationships, and telling 4- and 5-year-olds why, or explaining it in a way that they would understand why a child in their class may have, and I'm sorry, Izzy, to use may have 2 mummies or may have 2 daddies. Yeah. I don't see that is a problem. In fact, I think it should be taught that way.
See, that's the thing. That's the point I'm trying to make. That's what you would like. I might not like it.
Well, yeah, but there has to be a law. You can't look. You can follow any religion you like. But the law of the land, and we do not live in a religious country. We live in a secular country. And when I get elected,
you do, because the Church of England does stipulate a lot of rules that happen in the UK.
Yeah, well, I would hope anyway, eventually to separate church from state as they have in France, because the religion teaches some horrible things in my view, and you're kind of demonstrating it today, John.
Yeah, what if your child is gay? If your child is gay and if your child's gay and being told it's a sin, that's going to mess them up.
Supposing your child, one of your children is gay.
I've not said, see, that's the thing. I'm not saying my child will be told it's a sin. What I'm saying
is a sin for Christianity,
as a parent, because the system is quick to blame parents when the young person or whatever goes out and does wrong.
See,
then the faith system is equally there to tell parents, you know what? You have the curriculum, the school will take over everything. We decide.
Well, that's as it should be, I'm afraid. You'll have to get used to that. And whether you're a Muslim or a Christian, your religious beliefs should not be allowed to be inflicted on the education system or any other law in the country. Okay?
Fine. Yeah, but fine. Then the question is,
you cannot protect your children from the way and the culture that is acceptable in this country.
You can guide them.
Well, that's what this is all about. But that's what this is all about.
No, but I agree. But see what I'm trying to say? As a parent, you know when you feel your child is ready to get that information. The school doesn't know.
Well, you could take that line with everything, and I'm afraid we're going to have... Listen, kids are ready for different things at different times, but teachers are well-versed in knowing that, and they would take it very easily with the sort of age group we're talking about. They would take it very, very easily. And I don't think you've got anything to worry about. Welcome to the real world, not the world of religion.
It's not about being worried. It's about the parents must have some say at some point. The parents have to have a say.
Of course you have say over what you feed your children, what you clothe them in, teaching them how to go.
What information they get at what point?
Well, you can't. You can't. Otherwise, every time your child goes out without you, they're going to be bombarded. And now we live in a time. What are you going to do? Not allow them to go online? Oh, well, a lot of religious people do.
Why do we have parental restriction? What is all this whole thing about restricting?
Well, not every, but every child I know manages to get around most parental restrictions.
But we still have those things where we're saying the parent has some restriction over what their child view on the internet. We give them on one hand, we're giving them. On the other hand, we're saying they can't say anything.
John, relax. Why are you getting so upset about something that... No, listen. Why are you getting so upset about something that's designed to help your child, not to hinder it? Is it because you really deep down, for some strange reason, like loads of other Muslims and Christians, you got this real problem with homosexuality? I don't... Why?
No.
Nobody's forcing it on you.
Do you not think it's a sin, though, in your religion?
No, but they're forcing it on the child.
Nobody's forcing it on the child. You're being ridiculous. Do you think you can catch? Do you think you can catch?
No, it's not about catching.
Because I tell you what, there are a lot of people within religions, not far from where I'm sitting in London. Yeah. There are hundreds of churches up the Old Kent Road. Every other flipping little church up there. We had one self-proclaimed bishop came in once. You remember years ago? He wanted to do a phone-in on how to heal homosexuals. That is how barking mad some religions are.
We know that's a load of tush. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not an extremist. What I'm trying to say to you here is there has to be the middle ground where if the parents say, my child at this point, I don't want them taught that, the parents must have a say.
Okay, but you must also be prepared for the school to say, yeah, we thought about this and discussed it with you, and we think your child will benefit from learning this. If you disagree, you would have to keep your child away from school. And then what happens is that you get loads of kids being kept away from school because every other thing their parents might not want them to learn. John, I've got to go for a break, but it's an interesting thought. I would also like to hear other people's views and maybe a lot of sympathy for John's view. Maybe a lot of parents don't want their children being taught about sex. But what age would you start telling your child about sex, I wonder?
Talk Radio. 24-hour radio debate and entertainment.
Talk Radio.